Hi, Gerhard Bloom, once again looking at the tyranny and the delusions of the social justice movement. So, Hunter Biden, after about 5 years of investigating, is going to be charged with felony weapons offenses. His crime, he lied on a form indicating that he was not a drug-addicted individual when signing on the federal form, gun form. Well, he lied. The whole world knew he lied. But David Weiss, the now special prosecutor under the DOJ, is filing charges. So is this a moment of transparency? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. This has come about because several months ago, David Weiss, who was not special prosecutor at that point, had gone to a judge with a plea agreement with the Hunter's defense team and tried to get the judge to sign off on a plea deal that would allow Hunter to claim responsibility for the gun charges, plead guilty. He would receive no jail time as long as he stayed clean, both chemically and legally. And an interesting caveat buried in the agreement was that he would be immune from prosecution for the tax crimes that were also being swept under the rug, but a pretended investigation. This is utterly unprecedented. The judge scratches her head and says, excuse me, Mr. Weiss, are you familiar with any precedents that would allow an offense that had nothing to do with the plea agreement to be provided amnesty for, right? Unspecified tax crimes in the plea agreement for the weapons charges. Utterly unrelated. David Weiss says, no, I'm not aware. That's because it never happens. Never happens. You go to court, you plead guilty, and you make some agreement with the prosecutor, and you're done. There's still these other offenses we need to deal with. That's how the system is supposed to work. So the deal collapsed. So everybody, the Hunter Biden's defense counsel says, no, we had a deal. We're fighting this. Off we go. The DOJ, under a tremendous amount of scrutiny and criticism, because there's all sorts of allegations, correct, that the DOJ has been weaponized, they've been treating Hunter Biden with kid gloves. The DOJ appoints a special prosecutor. They appoint David Weiss. He was the guy who was managing this whole thing, or mismanaging it, the entire time. Perhaps you didn't know, this is contrary to the Department of Justice policy. In cases like this, to avoid impropriety or the appearance of impropriety, they're supposed to go outside of the government and find somebody that has the very appearance of propriety and impartiality. They appointed David Weiss to look after David Weiss's prosecution. That's right, he's going to hold his own feet to the fire and make sure he doesn't continue making the mistakes he was making 10 minutes before he was appointed special prosecutor. This is awful. And my suspicion is they are going to do everything they can to exhaust the prosecution of Hunter Biden with these gun charges. So perhaps the world will look away and forget about those tax offenses. And why might that be? Has absolutely nothing to do with Hunter Biden. Everybody knows that these tax offenses implicate Joe Biden and his globe-trotting, influence peddling operation. And I did a previous video on this, so I'm not going to repeat, no connections or simply allegations, unfounded. There's a mountain of evidence that Joe Biden was deeply involved. Shell companies, millions of dollars going to the family of Joe Biden, his multi-million-dollar properties when he's been a loyal government servant all of his life, right? It's endless. Photographs of Joe Biden with Hunter's business partners, meetings and meals, Joe Biden phoning in on Hunter Biden's business dealings, right? So a mountain of evidence. So they're trying to shield Joe Biden. And Joe Biden has got to be very worried because Hunter Biden, in his laptop from hell, has made it very clear he has a great deal of resentment for his father. Yeah, having to be the bag man, having to turn over half of his salary, his bribes, his illicit gains, to his father. That's what he said to his own daughter on private communications between himself and his daughter. Yeah, he's got to give half of his money to his father. That's why Joe Biden is keeping Hunter Biden close, because there's a very real possibility that if Hunter Biden is going down, who may get sentenced to years and years in jail, as he properly should, he will blow the whistle on his father. You think I'm bad? Look at the president, my father. Yes, I think Joe Biden is living in absolute tyranny. And yes, Hunter Biden blames his father, forgetting the fact that the only reason why he was getting millions of dollars from the Ukraine, from Russia, from China, was that he was selling his father's name and influence, and his father exerted that influence. So keep a very close eye on this, because if David Weiss doesn't pursue tax evasion problems, you have known that they have perpetrated a fraud, a criminal fraud on the American people. And I'm very happy that the House has launched an investigation, right? An impeachment investigation. No, they haven't impeached Joe Biden. They're launching an investigation so that they can acquire more evidence in the growing mountain of evidence. And you notice the media, they don't say that Joe never spoke to Hunter about business dealings anymore. They've moved light years from that. That ship has sailed, right? No, there's no direct evidence that Joe Biden took money from Hunter Biden, except paying his bills, except shell corporations. Well, except all of that, right? Anyways, thank you so much for your time and attention. Please do drop a thumbs up if you've enjoyed the video. In this case, my book is largely unrelated. It's on the social justice insanity, this woke ideology, but it remains important, and not because I wrote it. I wrote it because the issues could not be more important. Thank you so much for your time and attention. Bye-bye now.